Looking tan, our Tim Doyle is. Hey, it's become one of the most anticipated unofficial days on the NFL calendar. The schedule release date set for Wednesday, May 14th at 8 o'clock Eastern. As we've come to learn, the Chargers are the kings when it comes to these schedule releases because all they do is throw shade in their videos there. That was just one example. We also love the Titans in back-to-back years. They went out to Broad Street and polled a bunch of people on NFL logos there. So we are certainly looking forward to some of the exciting games. These are just a couple of the ones we already know. And our John Breech joining us here to take a look at some of those games that are already listed on the schedule. John, we got to start with the Super Bowl champs out in Philly. They're going to kick us off in week 1, taking on the Detroit Lions. How do you anticipate the reigning champs in setting the tone early here?
Yeah, hey, you look, you're Philadelphia, you get to host that first game, that Thursday night opener, and I think a lot's going to depend on who they play. The NFL loves to make this a headline game, obviously, because it's kicking off the season, and so the Eagles have a couple juicy opponents, to quote Tim Doyle, that they could end up playing here. The NFL could put the Washington Commanders in this game. They could put the Detroit Lions in this game. They could put the Dallas Cowboys in this game. You know who the Eagles had the most trouble with in the playoffs last year? That was the Los Angeles Rams. The Eagles also host the Rams in 2025. So that is a team that could end up playing in the opener. And look, if you're that visiting team, if it's the Rams in week 1, you want to beat the reigning Super Bowl champs. So the Eagles have a target on their back starting the season. So it's always big to get that win in week 1. But I do think that because of the home teams the Eagles have in their schedule, this is going to be a fantastic way to start the NFL season.
They had a franchise record 14 wins last season. We'll see how many they get here. They are also the current Super Bowl favorites. Let's talk about the Chargers, John, because they're going to be very busy to start the season. We know that they will play in that Hall of Fame game in Canton. Then they jet off to Brazil in 2025 to start the season off. Based on how you saw the crowd embrace the Eagles-Packers a year ago, how do you think this one plays out?
Hey, if I'm the Chargers, I am thrilled that I'm going to Brazil because the team that won in Brazil last year ended up winning the Super Bowl. So if I am Jim Harbaugh, that's what I'm telling my team. Let's go down there. Let's get this win. There's been some reports that maybe they end up playing the Chiefs in Brazil, but you have to be thrilled because you know where you're playing. Every other team has to wait until the schedule comes out before they know where they're going and who they're going to play in week 1. Well, the Chargers know exactly where they're going to be, and that is down in South America. So at least you can start a little bit of preparation there. And then you look at who they might play in Brazil. I mentioned the Chiefs. You also have the Broncos, the Raiders, maybe a juicy matchup with the Washington Commanders. So the Chargers, again, should be a fun team to watch. I think this could be another great game. The NFL knows how to schedule week 1 games. They know how to get everyone excited. They're putting the right teams in the right spots.
Yeah, I remember last year when this game was played in Brazil, they played it at a stadium where there was supposed to be no green worn, and yet they invited 2 teams that their main colors were green. So we'll see how it works out this year. Brazil, though, Breech, not the only, or I guess I shouldn't say that they're not the newest international city on this list anymore for the NFL. We get 3 new cities debuting NFL action. You got the Colts headed out to Berlin. The Steelers will play in Dublin, and then the Dolphins will play in Madrid. When you look at this international slate, Breech, which game excites you the most?
Well, first, I think the fact that the NFL is playing 7 international games is amazing. They've never played more than 5. Roger Goodell's trying to get that number up to 16, but for now we are sitting at 7. I think the 2 games, I'm going to list 2 games, Haley. I'm going to double the total. The ones that excite me the most, the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin. The NFL's never played a regular season game in Ireland. We don't know if Aaron Rodgers is going to play for the Steelers, but the fact that you have one of the NFL's blue chip franchises hosting a huge international game in Dublin, I think that one's going to be exciting. And then how about the Miami Dolphins in Madrid, Spain? They are playing in a stadium that is one of the most technologically advanced stadiums in the world. And so seeing Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, that high-powered offense in Spain, I think that will be a great game. Then, of course, you mentioned the Colts in Berlin. The NFL has played multiple games in Germany, but they have never played a game in Berlin. So this will be the first time that Berlin's hosted a game.
I was actually at the Frankfurt game a couple years ago between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. I was so blown away, Breech, with the amount of knowledge that the German fans had when it came to the NFL. One of the fans I sat next to told me that they wake up at like 2 a.m. every Sunday so that they can watch the NFL action unfold. So we are garnering quite a fan base when it comes to the NFL across the world. So we're excited to see those new seasons, or those new cities, I should say. But, you know, We can't end our conversation without talking about a classic, Breech. The Dallas Cowboys playing on Thanksgiving. It's an annual tradition unlike any other. I can tell you that the food spread in the press box is top tier. But as far as the matchup goes, Breech, this is just a game we've expected to be a good one each and every year.
Well, if the food's that good, I'm going to have to put a request in right now to be sent to Dallas for that game because I do want to experience it. But yeah, we all know the Cowboys have that 4:30 p.m. slot lined up on Thanksgiving. That's right when you finish dinner. You took that Detroit Lions nap back when the Lions were bad. Now you have the Cowboys lined up at 4:30. And the Cowboys actually have some interesting possible opponents in this game. One of them that I think would be very fascinating is the Kansas City Chiefs. The NFL has been putting Patrick Mahomes in those big spots over the past few years. We have seen the Chiefs play on Christmas. We have seen the Chiefs play on Black Friday. We have not seen them play on Thanksgiving. So Chiefs-Cowboys would be a fantastic matchup for the holiday. The NFL's also kind of given the Cowboys a divisional opponent the past few years. We saw them play the Giants last season. So Commanders-Cowboys would be interesting on Thanksgiving. But there are definitely a few options the league has, and I do think we're going to get a great game on CBS for that 4:30 p.m. Thanksgiving game. I already got it circled on the calendar, Haley.
You have to. I'm telling you, it's prime rib, homemade mac and cheese, homemade greens, just to name a couple. Jerry Jones knows how to do it big up there in the press box. Our John Breech helping us get ready for schedule release, which is coming up next week. That is Wednesday, May 14th. We'll get a look at all of the teams and their schedules. Of course, we'll have you updated here on CBS Sports HQ as the news rolls in, along with news highlights and scores. It's all here for free 24/7.